Can tight and strong be a good thing and the same thing? Well, I'm Morgan, I'm a registered dietitian, and I'm a yoga teacher who focuses on helping runners feel their best. And today we're going to get into a yoga sequence with also a little bit of foam rolling for the quads specifically. And before we dive into that, I do just want to talk a little bit about, I hear runners say all the time, and this may be you, that my quads are so tight. Well, yeah, because your quads are really freaking strong, and that's not a bad thing. It only potentially becomes an imbalance or potentially harmful thing if it becomes an imbalance. So strong is not a bad thing. If that strong develops into an imbalance where we have weaker hamstrings and weaker glutes, well then, yeah, let's talk about it. But strong is not a bad thing. But tight can also mean then that it's just a little bit uncomfortable, and that is something we want to lengthen out and provide a little more balance to the body. So this is going to be a sequence that would be best after running or after some sort of warm up. And so if you haven't done that yet, hit the pause right now and either go for a quick little run or do a few sun salutations if you know what that is, do some jumping jacks, something to kind of get the blood in the body moving, and then hit play and come back and see me. Okay, so I'm hoping you did that, or just keep watching and move along and we'll do great. So the first thing that we're going to do to stretch the quads is going to be a low lunge. So if we think about our sedentary lifestyle for the most part, our hip is always flexed, which means our knee is always coming up towards our face. And that's hip flexion, which is just going to shorten the hip flexor, which is what the quad is, and shorten the quads. And so by finding a low lunge position, press both feet into the ground, lower your back knee to the floor, and align your back leg parallel to a mat if you have one, or to the long edge of something that may be in front of you. Now allow your hips to sink forward, but don't maintain the activation in your glutes, and then press your tailbone down, lift your chest, stretch your spine. Good. And then you may need to hang out here for a little breath or two. Your front knee and ankle are stacked. Switch sides. So you can do a regular lunge. I just find that a lower lunge tends to get more into the quad for me. Press your back big toe into the ground and then squeeze your feet together energetically. Press your tailbone down, lift your chest and stretch your spine, gazes forward. So again, lengthening that area that was just bent and just shortened a little bit ago to help get into that quad. Nice. And now balance is another thing that as runners we need to work on, usually. So this is going to be balance and also quad. If balance is a challenge for you, hang on to something nearby. Otherwise, bring your knees together and then I say and then a lot, grab onto the inner edge of your right foot, knees together, press your tailbone down, and then press your knee straight down. So as you can see from the side angle that my foot's not out here, my leg is in line with my other thigh. So by pressing your knee straight down, you're going to get more into that quad. If it's more comfortable for you to hang on to the outer edge of your foot, by all means do so. The inner edge is just going to be a little more of a shoulder rotation. From the front, it looks pretty similar. So my legs are really close together. It's none of this wonko jonko business of your knees really out to some far off land. No, knees are together. And if you fall out, you come back in. Learn to take ourselves a little less seriously. Very nice. And then from here, so another thing is just to kind of keep in mind that we're focusing just on the quads with a little bit of balancing. So if you want more of a full balance class, definitely check out some of those links below. So come to a seat, take your feet as wide as the mat, and then take your knees to one side and the other. Now depending on our current range of motion and current sort of tightness, if you will, just coming to one side may be enough to kind of feel on that top of the leg into the quad. Otherwise, the next time you come over to the left side, you're going to align your left thigh with the top edge of your mat. And then you're going to begin to work your right thigh away from you. So you're going to start to get more length in through the front of the leg and into that quad muscle. Now this is also a twist, so again, this is why it's important to be warmed up. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, breathe deeply. I like to incorporate twists with runners because most of the time we're just working in that same parallel frontal plane. Again, work your opposite thigh away from you to deepen that stretch. Big breath in, long breath out. Okay, so since the quad is encompassing of 4, we're doing 4 yoga poses. Quad or low lunge was that first one. The second one, working into holding your foot. Third one, that little bit of the twist. This is also going to be a twist for the fourth one, but it's going to actually be a little bit of a lunge variation. So it's a twist and it's a quad stretch. Step your left foot forward, turn your left toes out, and then make sure your knee is in line with your left toe. Take your right hand out farther than the mat if you're using a mat, and up slightly. And now from here, press your back big toe into the ground and press your the toenail into the ground. So you're engaging that inner line, very important. And then rotate through the torso. So you may already feel a lot of sensation in through that back leg. And this is where you stop and stay. Now this is kind of like riding a bus. And the further you progress onto the bus and the more stops you kind of stop along, the sketchier and more ghetto sketchier it gets. So this is a perfect place to stop. If you feel like you need more of a quad stretch, you're gonna bend your back knee, flex your foot. So my foot is not just hanging out, but I'm flexing my foot, it's activated. Reach back with your left hand. So you're twisting your shoulder open. Now keep your foot activated start to finish. Back your glutes up. You may even have to walk your step back to keep that connection where your heel and glute touch, super important. And then from there, allow everything to kind of melt down, keeping that connection. Activate your glutes and your core. Big breath in, big breath out. Slowly release. Holy smokes, that is like, oh yeah, every single time, every time. Opposite side, step your right foot forward, turn your toes out, front knee and ankle are stacked. Move your left hand out slightly. Now set up your foundation, strong feet, hug your feet together, press the back inner edge of your foot down. Keep that solid foundation start to finish. Bend your back knee, foot stays engaged even though it comes up. Find the connection, heel and glute. If that doesn't happen, then back your glutes up to find that connection. Back your glutes up as much as you need. And then only if you feel like you can go a little further, go a little further. I find for most of my yoga students, this is where we stay. And maybe even reach back. Hug both feet towards each other, start to finish. Okay. When you're ready, come on out. So you may even notice anytime in yoga where we can extend the legs in an opposite direction, like opposite, is gonna be good for running. Because when we're running, we're like this, right? So we gotta stretch those legs out, and that's gonna be beneficial. Now getting into a little bit of foam rolling to help kind of get the blood flowing a little bit more, and then also work out any scar tissue and any injuries. So you're going to place the foam roller underneath your right hamstring or your right quad and roll up and down. Now you may notice that you start in sort of the midline, like right smack dab in the center. See what it's like if you kind of go to the lateral quad. I find that's an area that most people forget to roll, and that would be this area right here. So when we're rolling, keep going if you're going. When we're rolling, you can get into the medial side, the inside part of your leg, like this. The body, which is smack dab in the middle, and then also that lateral quad. So quad meaning 4, and by rotating, you can kind of get into some of those different areas. So this helps with the imbalance issues that I mentioned at the beginning. So I find a lot of times with runners that if we have really tight quads, it's because of a couple different things. Number one, we could have injured our hamstrings or our glutes, and then naturally the quads want to start to take over, so then they can become imbalanced and particularly too strong perhaps. And it can also happen if you're not used to firing your glutes, and so this happens a lot with, or at least I find with newer runners, or if you're a runner that has recently increased your mileage significantly, there could be a chance that you're becoming a little bit more quad imbalanced. So do both of those legs, and then lay on your back, hug your knees in towards your chest. And if you need to kind of pause again and foam roll longer, by all means, certainly do so. Hug your knees in towards your chest, take a deep breath in, and exhale, sigh it out. And now you can take your feet wider than your hips, allow your knees to fall in, or for some of us, it'll feel more comfortable to bring the soles of your feet to touch and allow your knees to fall out to the side. You may need to lengthen out your low back, hang on to the outer edge of your mat, push your hands down and forward as you stretch your body in the opposite direction. So part of yoga is not only doing the poses and doing the action, but it's the integration. And that's exactly what Shavasana, this pose, is for. Stay here as long as you need. When you're ready, roll over to your left side, press yourself up into a seat. Come back to this practice as often as you need, or feel free to incorporate some of these quad stretches into your own home yoga practice, or again, check out any of the videos, and we always touch into the quads just because it's part of a well-balanced practice. So comment, let me know what you thought of it, and I will see you guys soon. Subscribe for a new video every week. Keep it kind.